Hi, and welcome to tonight's episode of the Aortic
Aortic
Kitchen. I'm Chef Rob.
I'm Mindy Seltzer, dietitian.
I'm the Aortic Chef. So tonight we have a little bit different episode. We're going to show you some new things to do with oatmeal. It's National Oatmeal Day or month, whichever it is. There's all these different days that are dedicated. So it's all about oatmeal. And we know oatmeal is a very healthy food for everybody. It has all sorts of great properties. Mindy will tell you some of them nutritionally.
They're high in fiber. If you're on a gluten-free diet, you must verify if you have celiac that the oatmeal is gluten-free. But for the most part, if you're gluten intolerant, oatmeal works wonderfully as a substitute. Today, we're going to make multiple things using oatmeal, which is something a little different. We had to practice a little bit because it's a little bit interesting to cook with oatmeal without flour. But I'm excited. They turned out well in the test. Hopefully they'll turn out well tonight.
That's your stuff.
That's my stuff.
Yes. And oatmeal, by the way, also does have, it's good for reducing cholesterol. There you go.
Because it is a high fiber.
Yes. So, all right, so we're going to start. Mindy is going to start tonight. She has two items she's going to make. One is a 3-ingredient cake made with oatmeal, and it's a no bake. So anybody can do this, really simple and easy. And she's got a breakfast muffin cake, whatever you want to call it. And that's also pretty easy. And then I have two savory dishes, which I know some people are looking forward to. I'm going to make a carrot ginger soup that is thickened with oatmeal rather than flour or cornstarch. And also I'm going to make a risotto, an oatmeal risotto with squash and kale. So that'll be interesting to see and to eat. So I'll let Mindy move ahead and I'm going to step in the back.
Okay. We're going to start out. I've already pre-measured cream cheese, a half a teaspoon of lemon juice, and jam of your choice. If you have raspberry, blueberry, whatever. Today I'm making blueberry muffins. Oops, wrong ingredient. That's baking. Let me do the chocolate first because it takes longer to settle. 30 seconds. What I did is we have 3 ounces of chocolate. I've reduced the recipe. We have 3 ounces of dark sweet chocolate cut up very fine. We have 1.5 cups, 1 cup plus a few tablespoons of oatmeal. And to make it dairy free, we're using coconut milk. And I have 3/4 of a cup. I don't want to pour it.
Okay, also that is 50% dark chocolate. You can use whatever level that you want. So it's a bittersweet chocolate. And you want your milk to be about 100 up to 190. You don't want it to boil. Chocolate melts chocolate will melt around 100 degrees. You know how it melts in your hand, right?
It might need a little bit more.
Yeah, so that's what I was going for.
There we go.
All right.
So to melt the chocolate, to make it creamier, I'm heating the coconut milk up to about 180. I don't want it to boil, but I want it hot enough to dissolve the chocolate. So what I did to prep is I have a little pan, sprayed it with oil, put a little piece of parchment on it, and then wet the foil again, wet the parchment. Then we have the chopped chocolate. You really, if you want to, you could substitute dark chocolate chips if you want. And then it's quick oatmeal. The oatmeal comes in different forms. The fiber content is pretty much the same, whether you use steel cut oats, whole oats, or quick cooking oats. The fiber content will be the same. The consistency is a little bit different. So what we're doing is waiting for the milk to heat up, which it should be right where it's at. I'm going to pour the chocolate into the milk. Gonna give it a little stir. Whoops, sloppy dear. Messy me. And just gonna let it set aside for a while and let it melt. Okay. While that's soaking and melting, I'm gonna do a little bit of the breakfast bar. This, as I said earlier, is 2 tablespoons of cream cheese, a teaspoon and a half of your favorite flavor jam, strawberry, blueberry, I think this is blackberry, and a half a teaspoon of lemon juice. This is going to go in the center, and I'm going to melt this a little bit because even though we left it out, honey, it's still very hard. Okay. Okay, so that the ingredients for this one is we're using baking powder, not baking soda, and we did take the salt out of the recipe. It works pretty well without it. The other ingredients that we have for it are they're lemon muffins. So we have lemon peel, the baking powder. This is applesauce, unsweetened applesauce with a little bit of honey, and 1 egg, or you can use egg substitute. And this is dark brown sugar. What I'm going to do is whisk together. Rob's actually helping me. He's whisking together the cream cheese. In this bowl, I'm going to combine the brown sugar. I need the berries.
Okay.
So when you mix, look at all mixed. It's purple. It should be just there on the shelf in front of your nose. Did I leave it in the freezer? I did. Here are the blueberries. I got the wild blueberries because they're very small. If you can see the size of them, I won't have to chop them that much. And since I left them in the freezer, I might have to warm those up a little bit too. So in the dry ingredients, I'm going to put the lemon peel, the baking soda powder, get it correct, and the eggs. Which if you give me a fork, honey, if you got one over there. I don't, I can grab one from right here. So I have a fork. And I'm one of those people that scrambles the eggs right in the thing I'm making rather than having to dirty another bowl. I'm going to pour the applesauce, and it also has the vanilla in it. I'm going to add that to the mixture. And then I'm going to stir it all together. You preheat the oven. After you mix this, then you heat the oven. Then you come back and finish this, so it absorbs the liquids that we just added to it. And how's the blueberries here? Yeah, I was going to microwave a little bit. Nope.
Oh, never put them in.
I did not. So let me put them in a little bowl. We had a lot going on this morning, so I left them out. I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of blueberries. So we're going to put half the blueberries into this mixture. And it's nice to break up the berries. You can use raspberries, strawberries. I made some with strawberry. I diced them very fine. If you're using raspberries, blackberries, you're going to mash them. up so that they disperse evenly throughout the mix. And as you see, it's pretty much looks like it's all blended together. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. And we're going to put half the blueberries in here.
All right, so
Okay,
be setting that the batter aside because the oatmeal needs to
Yeah,
hydrate a little bit and soak up some of the moisture. Because if not, they're going to be a little
crunchy.
crunchy, or a little chewy, actually. So here we have her melted chocolate. She can do
The
the
melted
next.
chocolate
She can do
is
the cake.
all mixed together. And as you see, we had to let it melt. It melted pretty quick together. It's nice and fine, creamy. Now I have the oatmeal. Now this is quick cooking oatmeal. So what I'm going to do is pour these in slowly. Give it a little stir. Add a little more. Add a little more. I'm doing this so it doesn't splash out of the bowl. And it distributes the chocolate a little more even than putting the bulk in all at once. Just keep stirring it. The moisture from the coconut milk will start absorbing. Dump the rest in. And then we're just going to mix it until it's very well blended. I wonder if this would be good to eat for breakfast, not cook.
Why not? Everybody likes chocolate for breakfast.
I think it's a little bit too much chocolate. There's about 3 ounces of chocolate.
Wait. You ask our viewers, I assume there's somebody watching. Is there ever such a thing as too
Too
much
much
chocolate?
chocolate.
Josh, is anybody watching?
Oh, there's a few people in here. Just remember there's a 15-second delay, so we'll have to wait
Okay.
for
All right.
that.
Okay.
So you taught me something new.
And I don't see any white bits of oatmeal left. And that's the goal because you want that chocolate coating every bit of oatmeal. Then I'm going to take my pan. And I'm going to add it to the pan slowly. Spread it out evenly. And it doesn't look like cake right now. Whoops, I'm dripping everywhere. I'm being a slob, dear. What's new? So take the chocolate, have it done, level it off even. Then this sits in the refrigerator for 4 hours until it hardens. And I already made one batch already. This takes the bubbles out. If you twist it like this will take the bubbles out of your desserts. Even when you do regular cakes, it's the same thing. You put that in the refrigerator, please.
No,
You don't want to.
we're supposed to let it sit out until it cools.
Oh,
Then you
yeah.
put it in the refrigerator for at least 4 hours.
It's the 4 hours. It's a long time.
Right. So you're going to have to come back at about 10:30 tonight and we'll
And we'll
cut
cut
it
it up for you.
and we will show you how it looks.
So now we're doing the muffins again. If you notice, it's more wet and moisture proof, which is interesting because last time I had a lot of liquid left over. I'm not having so much liquid this time.
Like this.
I think I might just add a little bit more. And I'm going to add the blueberries. Half of the blueberries that are included. Just wait till it's in.
We have to use some of the blueberries.
Just wait till I mix this in and we'll see what happens. Because if you don't have enough liquid in it, it will just be
It'll be granola.
a crunchy granola.
Yeah, which is yummy.
We don't want to overmix it too much because we have the baking soda in it, baking powder. I have this thing about soda. So Rob, what's the difference between baking soda and baking powder?
Okay, well, baking soda is by sodium bicarbonate, and baking powder is sodium bicarbonate with a an acid salt, well, usually like an aluminum, that is added to it so that it helps it rise quicker. There's double acting and there's single acting. You rarely see single acting baking powder. That means just, when you activate it, it goes, because the acid is there, as you know. You bake or cook with baking soda, you often add vinegar or yogurt or something acidic, something to make it, then that acid works with the baking soda to make it all bubbly. It's how you clean your sink, right? With soda and some vinegar. So the double acting baking powder, though, has another ingredient so that when it gets moistened, it does an initial rise, gives gas off in the bowl right there while Minnie's playing with it. And then it also does a second rise when it gets hot. When it's in the oven, it is heat activated and then gives off the rest of the gas. So that's double acting, which is pretty much all you buy. I've never seen in the grocery stores a single acting baking powder. So there's the story of baking powder.
Now, baking powder is a whole bunch of different companies make them, and some of them act a little bit different. So depending on your altitude and what you're doing, baking is fun. The higher up, less time. Okay, I'm gonna add just one little more drop of water, huh? Because it's got to be able to soak up something. I'm just going to set these aside and let it soak up for a while. And then Rob's going to do some of his stuff, and then we'll come back making the muffins.
Okay, gotta get everything out here.
So what happened is I had all the stuff laid out, and I figured room temperature, but I forgot. Room temperature isn't usually 75 degrees. Room temperature is about 68 right now.
Okay, great.
Anything else I need to get for you?
Oh, I don't think so.
Eric?
I have it all. Okay, so we're gonna start with the soup tonight. It works the quickest. And if you remember the show that I did, oh my goodness. Oops, gonna slide this over a little bit. And you remember one of my very first shows, way back about 2 years ago, and we did soups. I talked about different types, how to make different soups, shortcuts, ways you can remember how to make soup. So we are making basically we're going to make a puree soup. So if you remember, there were 3, 4, and 5 steps, depending on what type of soup you wanted to make. So it was sweat simmer serve, sweat simmer puree serve, and sweat simmer puree cream. So we are doing the sweat simmer puree. So I'm going to heat about a tablespoon of olive oil in my pan.
See extra virgin olive oil for that?
Actually, I'm using a pure olive oil, which is basically extra virgin olive oil blended with refined olive oil. So it's what most Italian chefs will use in their kitchens for cooking rather than extra virgin, because this will be a little bit higher heat. I do use sometimes extra virgin if I'm not doing a real high heat application, so I don't burn it. But I just want to let this get a little warm, and we will then go. So my ingredients in this soup are really simple: olive oil, onions, carrots. I have a bay leaf, some stock, the oats, and the ginger, and lemon and pepper. And that's it. Okay. Oh, there's that sizzle. So the bowl was definitely hot. Just pan, please. turn this down. It's really hard to see this thing. Nope. So we're gonna sweat. What's sweat mean? We're gonna cook it until the onions get clear. And put my carrots in just a second. We always want to sweat the vegetables in the soup so that they give off more flavor. It starts to caramelize a little bit, but basically you begin the cooking process ahead of time. Okay. So really pretty simple. We sweat this, add the carrots. We're going to add the stock, but make it with vegetable stock. So this is a totally vegan dish. All right. So that's always nice. It's dairy-free, vegan, and will have to be dairy-free if it's vegan, right? And pretty sure there's 0 cholesterol, low fat. There's only used a tablespoon in here for all these bowls, so less than a teaspoon of oil per person. And yeah, so it's all those good things. Low sodium, low cholesterol, low fat, and vegan. Okay, and it's gluten-free as well. So I'm using, let's say I am using that good verified gluten-free oatmeal. Okay. If not, it is definitely fine for those that have, as Mindy said, gluten intolerance. All right, these are now looking clear. Okay. Well, I'm going to add a lot of carrots in this soup because, well, it's a carrot soup, right? By the time I cook this down, because they're going to reduce. It's all mixed together. And I'm making it with vegetable stock. You can use water, won't be as flavorful. I mean, I think I've said this before too when cooking. Water is my liquid of last choice. All right, when making things, because water has no flavor, it just has hydration. So if I can use vegetable stock or chicken stock or whatever, depending what I'm making, the appropriate flavor, even a weak stock, so it's fine. We've talked about when you make stock for chefs doing kitchens, they make what's called a remoulage, and that's where you make that stock and let it sit overnight, and then you strain it off. Then you have all those bones that are left over. They'll sometimes we'll put more fresh water on it, fresh herbs and such, and make a second stock or the remoulage. So which is the second, the second run. And it makes a decent, like I said, it's a light stock, not as flavorful as your first, but it's great for doing things like making rice and pasta. And you don't have anything else, it's great for whatever you're going to make. So, all right, that's doing well.
So you said remoulade or remoulade?
Remoulage. Remoulage.
And there is a
Okay.
difference.
I have a bay leaf here for a little flavor. Now I'm going to add my oats. See, this is all the oats it is in this whole pot. Not a ton. Okay. Turn the burner on. Oops. I'm spilling all over the cup. No, somewhere I got it. There.
That great burners on.
That's fine. Thank you. I made a mess. Made a mess. Made a mess. Well, I didn't make the mess. Sorry about that, folks. The measuring cup made a mess. Wasn't my fault. Okay, so you're going to bring this to a simmer, and you'll let it cook, and then we'll puree it. Okay, so I'm going to take this off of the stove. Let me get it up there first. Okay. Okay. It's going to take a little bit. Those carrots were quite cold. So, okay.
It's burners.
Yes. I could use this. Look at that. Perfect. And watch it
Okay.
that way. Okay. And we will put I had a lid, right there. Let it go. Okay, easy peasy. Soup cooks itself, right? So we just need enough time for everything to get tender and for the oatmeal to swell and hydrate. And then I'm gonna put it in the blender and puree it, and we're done. Now, if I want to make it a cream soup, I can do that. After I puree it, I can add some milk, no longer be vegan, or I could add that coconut milk that we have, the unsweetened coconut milk, so it's not gonna make it sweet.
And the light.
And we also use light this time, so that also works. Okay. Here we go, another pan for the risotto. Now, let's talk about risotto. Unless there's any questions, I will keep going. Oh, forgot my ginger.
There is
Dang.
never such thing as too much chocolate.
Exactly. I knew that answer. That was an easy one. Okay, so risotto is a dish, but it's also a method. You know how I love to talk about technique. Once you learn the technique of how to make something like soup, sweat, simmer, serve, puree. Okay, that's technique, not a recipe. So risotto is also a method for making a dish. And typically it is you take whatever you're working with. So most times risottos will start with onions, but you sweat a vegetable that you're using. Then you toast your grain, the rice typically, and then you slowly add hot liquid to it while you stir. And then it releases more starch through this method. Okay. So we can do that. I've made risotto with barley, with rice, of course, different types of rice, especially. There are different rices that we can use. The regular rice, typically you hear about in the store, arboreal rice. That's the main one. That's the common one, I should say. And arboreal is the common one. This is it's a medium grain starch rather than long grain, so it lets out more starch. But then there's also the preferred one with most chefs, especially Italian chefs, is Carnaroli, Carnaroli. It releases more starch and makes a creamier risotto. But enough of that, because we're not talking about risotto with rice, we're talking risotto with oatmeal. So for this particular risotto, I'm going to make it with squash and kale. Will be on the vegetables and flavors. I'm using vegetable stock. And we will use traditional steel cut oats. Now that's done because they're already starting to brown. You always have to toast your grain. Now, I have seen some chefs, and I didn't have time to do that for you tonight while we do this. It would be too time consuming. Just toast the oatmeal in a pan without any oil or anything, just like you were toasting nuts in a pan on the flame and toss it around until it got, warm and kind of nutty. But we'll do this with the oil. This is what you typically do with the rice as well. But I saw that and I thought, yeah, that's a really good idea. You want to get that extra nuttiness, that toastiness. So it's really important that you do toast the grain. So it only takes a few minutes. Don't want to burn it by doing here. Oh, our soup is coming along just fine. Okay. We need hot stock. Work with. They're liquid. There's mine. Okay. I cannot see the flame. Okay. Great. So steel cut, did anybody know the difference between all these different oats with steel cut oats and old fashioned oats and quick oats? They're excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. They're all really come from the same thing, a whole oat. And the, I'm being distracted here, the whole oats. So steel cut is exactly what it says. They take a whole oat and then put it through steel knife blades, which then cause it to, they break it up into these nice little pellets, it looks like. Old-fashioned oats, they then take the oats and it'll stop. See, okay, I get distracted easily, guys. So they take them and put them through stainless steel rollers and they crush the oats flat like you see, and that's old-fashioned oats. For quick cooking oats, they run them again through tighter cylinders and crush it even flatter. So that's the only reason why it cooks quicker, is because it is thinner. Okay. So all the same, it's not a matter of pre-cooking it. Now the instant oatmeals are partially cooked. Okay, this is nice and nutty, doing well. Typical risotto method. If you want, you deglaze and add some wine. A little bit of Chardonnay there. Inexpensive. I think I spent $4.50 on the bottle. Okay, no big deal. All right, there we go. You stir until it is absorbed, which took about 3 seconds. Now I'm using this very wide flat pan, which is making it very, the liquid's going to absorb quickly. We have more surface area. So it's going to cook faster. Woo! Baby, that is hot tonight. So little shock, stir, stir, stir. Now with the oats and this other, we're going to do it a little bit different. Typically, we just keep doing this and then add your vegetables and let it cook. So we're going to add this a little bit quicker. This is going really well. Okay, now we cool that pan down a little bit. Stir, let some evaporate and absorb. All right. Checking that flame. That looks good. You got to see, it needs to be boiling. See it's bubbling. Okay. Oh, interesting. Hold on, everybody. For some reason, will you stir that, please?
Are you?
Hmm.
What'd we lose?
I'm going to lose that camera because my computer is running out of power and is fully charged. Technology. So I have to either pull the microphones if we don't want to do. Oh, I don't have to pull them. Oh, I do for a second. Whoop, there we go. Camera gone. Technical issues.
So I'm stirring this, so this
Well,
does.
you didn't have.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, we're back on. Everybody hear us, Josh?
Oh yeah, we never not heard you.
Okay. Oh, wow.
That camera's
That's amazing.
not on yet. That camera's not on
The
yet.
camera's not coming back.
Not coming back. All right, no problem.
Nope, I don't have enough ports. Okay, so you saw this, guys. You saw this happening. So I'm just going to keep adding the liquid here. I need to have enough liquid. In fact, I'm going to add it all now. Because I need some liquid here to cook. I have my kale and my butternut squash. Chop the kale. The squash is cut really small, okay, like 1/2-inch dice, so that it cooks quickly. And a little bit different. Risotto, you would never cover, okay? You just keep adding that liquid and stirring it in until it's all absorbed. Another ladle, then another ladle, another ladle. And then when it's done, you finish it with some cheese and some butter or whatever you want, and then it's done. This I'm going to cover because oatmeal typically you want to cover, right? You want to keep the heat and the steam in. So there we go.
Which camera are we missing?
We're missing the one right here on the table, honey. So you're not going to be able to until I can get the computer to charge up.
Okay.
So, Mindy, you want to continue with the muffins? So,
If you can see, I took because I used blueberries, it actually turned the oatmeal a little green because the wild berries, when they're defrost, the color leaches and it goes into the oatmeal. So I put about 2 tablespoons of oatmeal in each container. Okay. From there, my mixture of my cream cheese and the jams, I'm going to put a little dollop in the center, and it's very small. You know, you're talking 2 tablespoons. So you're going to put like a teaspoon in each one as soon as I get my spatula out of the way.
okay.
I'm going to do that while he's mixing that. And then I'll show it to you when I'm done.
That was a little seasoning I added just now, that's all. Nothing spectacular. Ready, Mindy?
Almost.
So what did you tell them what you're doing now?
Yes, I'm putting the dollops of the cream cheese mixture in the center of each muffin.
I could move this off of here.
That's okay.
No, all good.
I'm good.
We're right there.
I will show them in a minute.
Okay.
So I put a dollop of the cream cheese mixture into the center of each of the muffins. Then I'm going to take the blueberries I had left over, mix those, pour those on top. So nothing better than lots of blueberries.
You're
Putting about,
basically making it's like an oatmeal cookie sandwich in a muffin, right?
and I'm putting about a teaspoon of the berries in each one. I still have more topping to put on top. It might be a good idea if you're going to use blueberries. We thawed these just to move the time along a little bit, but keep them frozen while you're mixing them into the oatmeal.
They will thaw in the oven.
Okay. I put the blueberries on top. And now what I'm going to do is add a dollop of the oatmeal mixture on top of it. So it seals the cream inside like a
This is the top piece of bread, the cookie.
Cookie or what's the filled?
The whoopie pie.
Thank you. I was thinking more of a Hostess ding dong or cupcake.
King dong.
King dongs.
Or a round Twinkie.
It could be round Twinkie with a totally different texture. That's for sure.
Yeah, these are very oatmeal. Obviously, it's all oatmeal, guys. So you have to, well, like oatmeal, which always helps if you're making things with oatmeal. But they're pretty good. Chocolate dessert is pretty outstanding because it's just all chocolate. It's got the oatmeal lends a really interesting texture to it. That's a little bit different. There you go.
I got one more. Then after I'm done setting these, I'm going to put these in the oven. And basically what you can do is don't start your oven right away. Because while you've mixed your batter and everything, and letting it soak. While your oven's heating, you can wash all your dishes and have all your dishes clean so you don't have any mess left over. That's one thing with baking. Somehow baking seems to be one of the messiest things to cook, unless you're OCD. I mean, you don't like any messes, so it wouldn't make a difference.
Or you're a chef.
Uh,
Always clean things go.
That's not always true. Baking still makes messes.
Yeah. Clean up as you go.
Oh. So what I'm going to do is the oven is preheated to 375. I'm going to put it in the oven. It's going to bake for 30 to 35 minutes. And then you take a toothpick like you do with regular baking, even with the cream cheese in the center. When it comes out clean, it will be finished.
Okay.
It rises just like regular muffins, and then it fell down a little bit after you cooked it. So I'm done with that. They look like just little blueberry muffins. And I'm going to put them in the oven as long as they don't get rubbed. And I'm going to go clean up.
Okay. Excellent. All right. So my risotto is cooking. It's just simmering away. Yeah. So I just check every once in a while, make sure that nothing's burning, but you see it's getting, you can't see yet, but it's getting nice, starting to thicken up real well. And the squash is cooking. Everything looks really nice. So I'm going to wait until all that liquid is absorbed. It takes about 20 minutes, okay, for that to happen. But I think my soup, if we move back to the stove, oh, it smells really good because it's ginger. I'm going to snag my bay leaf. There we go. Get that out of there.
So did anyone have family rules about bay leaves and soup? For example, if you got the bay leaf, you were the one responsible for washing all the dishes.
All right. I think we're doing okay here. Pretty much ready for the next step. Now, in the recipe, it will tell you for the soup, you know, cut the carrots into 1/2-inch dice. All right, so small dice. But here's the deal. It's going to be pureed. Do you really care? The big deal is I just put these in the food processor and I, you know, chop them up in the food processor with the knife blade. The thing is, though, you want to make sure all the chops are, you know, pretty much the same size, no matter how you do this. So you don't have any really big chunks like always happens in the food processor. And that's what I'm pulling out right now is a couple of the big pieces. But I'm in really good shape here. So I'm going to do this in my handy dandy high-speed blender. Now, I will tell you, and many times, if you're going to puree hot soup, it's really not the best idea. Because when you put hot soup in a blender or in the food processor and you turn it on, all that steam just has to go somewhere. And when you have the lid closed, you get a ton of pressure. Okay. So,
Can I interrupt? I know I'm distracting you. Do not use a food processor for blending soup.
well,
It has a limit in volume.
right.
And once you hit that limit, which is about 3 cups, if you go over that, it's going to leak out everywhere.
Right. So
You don't want to go above the blade.
that's the point. Well, there is a mark on the side for the maximum amount to put in if you're blending liquids. Okay. But food processor, there really doesn't do the job like a blender. So back to my other discussion. You'll give it just
Okay.
where I can. I just don't need it cold. I just want all the chunks out. Okay. So here's the deal. So this is really hot. I do put in the recipes to, you know, just let it cool for a while. Or what I do, because I'm in a hurry, I do put my lid on. Always remember the lid. But this, you know, the little cap at the top so you can pour stuff in when you do it. Do not
Seal.
Don't seal it. Don't tighten it down and lock it. Leave it because I'm going to open it up a little bit when I turn this on.
And
And
if
I'm
you,
starting at very slow speed, and then I slowly increase. And I can hear you. Then you started talking to me and I can't hear. We're gonna run it till it's smooth. Let's give it a check. I want to check my oatmeal. I don't know what you were trying to tell me. What
you
were you
want me
trying
to
to tell
put
me?
the camera back on.
No,
Okay.
the computer isn't ready yet. So can't just yet. We'll give it a few more minutes. The risotto is almost there. Getting there. Looks great. Looks really, really good. Okay. Let me check my soup. You give me the pan back on the stove.
Yeah.
Great. Oh yeah, creamy smooth. Lovely. See this now? You can see how beautiful and smooth. Gorgeous. Simply gorgeous. Carrot and ginger is a match made in heaven.
Also very good when you have a cold. Ginger is very good for you.
Yeah. And carrots are always good for you. Just not tonight. We're gonna have our eyes will probably turn yellow after eating the squash and the carrots. If I need my
I think I said it before. There was when I was in college in the dietetics program, they were actually doing a study on children not watching TV for years. And one of the students was married and had a couple kids. And she got so concerned because her children's eyes and skin turned yellow like they had jaundice. Took her to the doctor, the kids to the doctor, and found out their afternoon snacks were carrots. And the two of them would eat a pound of carrots every day, and it turned their skin and eyes yellow. As soon as they stopped eating them, it went away. So you can overconsume carrots, but it's not harmful if it turns you yellow.
Okay, whoop, that one didn't work. There we go. Okay, so our soup is pretty well done. We can season it with a little bit of lemon juice.
I don't know if you've seen them lately, but they now have seedless lemons. You don't have to worry about picking out those little lemon seeds.
Yep, about a teaspoon in there, not a ton. And I was going to add something else. Oh, yeah, some pepper.
White?
Yes, I'm going to use white pepper. I think the recipe calls for black or whatever, but I prefer white. A lot of people don't keep it. I like white pepper because you can't see it. It does have a different flavor than black pepper, by the way. It is a little more intense because it's the same berry. It's just the center. So they take the black outer shell off of the peppercorn, and what you have left is the white peppercorn. So it's the same, but the center, the seed, has a little bit more intense flavor than the outer shell. So they separate them and sell them differently. Then the red pepper corn, if you ever buy those, is not a peppercorn at all, and it's a different type of berry. And the greens are just an unripe peppercorn.
Non-dried. Can I open this? Check it.
Yes, you may, because I'm going to stir it.
We're going to leave the lid off.
Okay, yep, you can take the lid off because I'm starting to stick and burn. There we go. Okay. Okay, if you want, this is pretty well done. Give me a minute for technical, guys. We should last long enough for the end of the show here. I'm sorry about that. I totally my skill, but all right, come on, let's get that camera.
I see what the problem is.
Oh, I'm not plugged in, am I?
No.
No wonder. Okay, give me enough time. And it is plugged in. Yes. So, anyways, you all can see the risotto now. I got to turn the light on. There we go. Lovely. And so you can see now it looks like a regular risotto. So what do we do with the risotto when it's done? See, it's getting nice and creamy. You can see in the bottom of the pan the cream that you normally get with risotto. And my squash is cooked, I can tell, because it's giving off a little liquid. And then I'm going to finish. I have some grated cheese. Now, if you want it vegetarian, if you're lacto vegetarian, the cheese is fine. If you want to be vegan, you can just not use cheese, or you can use a vegan cheese if you like those. You know, that's great. But this gives it more creaminess, the cheese. You can see it get really nice and creamy here. And typically you would add some butter, but we don't use butter in the Aortic kitchen. Or if we do, we use very little bits of it. So did you see how that texture changed? Can you guys see that? Okay. All right. Look at that. Look at that. A little bit more cheese. Always a little more cheese. I'm going to add a little bit of seasoning to it because I just know it's going to need it. And we always have to work to develop flavor without salt, right? So you know what my typical favorites are. Well, we're going to have a little pepper. This I can use some black pepper in because it's got all these different colors. So that's not a problem. And I could use the lemon juice that I have on the counter or a little vinegar. And, you know, like lots of different types of vinegars. I could use cider vinegar because that goes well with the squash. I could use my rice vinegar, which I really love rice vinegar. I don't think I'd use wine unless I had white wine. But we probably do need a little bit of acid. So we have the lemon available. Squeeze a lemon in here. Lemon makes things, you know, the acid makes things bright and, you know, brings out flavors, just like salt does. Okay, a little bit of lemon. And since I'm not going to add any butter to it, we'll add now some good quality olive oil. I use the cooking oil first. Get all nice and shiny and olive oily. My light went out.
Setting everything up. Is there any questions?
Because I'm ready to serve, actually. Don't know about you.
There was a nose on the bay leaves, by the way.
A nose?
Yeah, nobody's heard of the bay leaf thing.
Maybe it was just my house, so my family made me wash all the dishes.
I got you. You're talking about the. Okay, so I'm gonna take this over here. We're gonna set up for the final show. Okay, so my ladle again. I keep losing my ladle.
Velda asks if she could use butter when she makes this.
Absolutely. That's a personal choice, guys. You know, we're trying to show the healthiest way possible, you know, but Can you use butter? Use all you want.
But
Right, use
moderation.
all you want. So this carrot soup, I gotta show you. I don't want to burn my board, but I will. See how nice and creamy smooth that is? Now, it would be really nice if you added some cream, or I would probably use my favorite new cream substitute is evaporated milk. I am using the heck out of that all the time. Let's see if these will stay on the top. Couple of cute little carrot curls there. But yeah, I love evaporated milk, evaporated whole milk or evaporated 2%, or you can get evaporated skim. I use pretty much evaporated whole, but it works just like cream. And we did the last show, right? We whipped. No, I did it for a dessert for New Year's. I made a tiramisu and used the evaporated milk instead of heavy cream, because you have to whip that and blend it with your mascarpone and such. It whipped up just like cream. You can put it in your mixer or your hand mixer, put powdered sugar in it, and it whips just like cream. So it really, with a lot less fat and calories. So it's really nice. Right. There's the soup.
So we let the cake set, and you can see it doesn't, but it won't come out of the pan. So I'm going to leave it in the refrigerator for about 4 hours, and we'll be able to show you what the final product looks like.
So you're all coming back at 10:30, right?
I'll let Rob show his
Oh, okay, before you do your.
Bernie asks if you deliver.
growing food before dessert.
Gotta spank your risotto. It lies flat. Look at that. Is that gorgeous? Let's zoom in on that a little bit. Slowly. Oh. It will focus in a second. That's really good looking stuff and smells great. Okay. And
Here.
okay. No, do you have your
Dessert?
No, we can have some spoons. That's fine. Okay, so we will taste. And what are we gonna say? Yum, of course. A little bit of the soup. Mmm. That's a real yum. That's not fake.
It is delicious.
That's really good. Now, there was a whole pound of carrots, a bag of carrots that were chopped up for that soup. And that makes about 4 bowls, okay? This is a pretty full bowl. So you could probably get 6, or if you just could serve it as a first course, you could probably get 4 to 6 soup cups out of that, okay? But it's really good. It's very gingery. And I did go a little heavy on the ginger. Fine. Oh, well, we're both sick. Want a fresh spoon?
With dessert. Have fresh spoons.
Okay, here we go. And the risotto. A little squash, a little kale. Bring everybody to the party here. And the party is being held in my mouth.
Oh my gosh.
Did I tell you?
It is actually delicious.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't taste like oatmeal at all.
Thank you.
It's got that chewy texture
Of the rice.
of the rice.
Mm-hmm.
You try to spread it back out again, dear?
I am.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna take it. That's all right. I know where I did it. I'll eat from that spot. Okay. I'll take these away. So that he can put hers down.
And here are the desserts. If you look, I cut the muffin in half. There's the cream cheese filling inside. It's just a dollop. It gives a good flavor. And if you break it in half like you do a muffin, it's got a pretty close muffin texture.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
We made these actually
2 days.
2
ago.
days ago.
It's still delicious.
Yep. The key with this is letting that
Oatmeal set.
hydrate.
If you don't do that, it'll be like crunching into, I don't know.
Well, you'll
Never tried it.
Well, it looked like you didn't mix your flour. You have little white lines where the oatmeal didn't really cook.
We did try another recipe
Didn't
and
like it. So we didn't
it was a breakfast bar. The
Yeah.
oatmeal came out all white, no matter how we mixed it and stirred it and followed the directions. So we said, no.
Yeah, it was a pumpkin oatmeal bar.
You ready to try the chocolate there?
Mm.
Bite your tongue.
Mm-mm. I'm just chewing.
Oh, I'm
You
gonna
may
take the
go
other half.
for the chocolate. No, go ahead.
Okay. So if you look at the chocolate bar, it looks like a cake and it's only
Back off a little.
oatmeal.
And it's all that dark chocolate, that 50% bittersweet chocolate. And if it's room temperature,
It almost
it's
melts in your mouth.
creamy and smooth. And you get this,
Nutty?
well, the texture from the oatmeal is really kind of nice. This is not crunchy at all. It's very, very soft. But you know it's not like a chocolate candy. And if it's cold, you can almost, the chocolate is a lot firmer and it kind of melts in your mouth more. But this is really good. I could eat this for dessert, which is really what it is. It is a chocolate oatmeal cake. But it wouldn't be bad for breakfast with some coffee. Okay.
Going to check the muffins that I just made, see if they're near done.
Somebody eat that whole muffin. Chocolate.
I wonder who that was.
I don't know.
I don't know. It disappeared.
Yep. Okay.
They're not quite done.
Didn't expect it to be.
Nope.
That's why we do things ahead of time. Okay, so here we go. So there you have it, folks. Wait, there. I'll make you all dizzy. But here we go. So we have our carrot ginger soup thickened with oatmeal. We have our oatmeal risotto. Get my finger out of there.
We
Which
have
is
our-
delicious.
Berry breakfast muffins and flourless chocolate cake for dessert.
3 ingredients, no bake. All right. Well, that is the program. Are there any other comments we need? And want to say hello? Who we got out there, Joel? Josh?
Yeah, let's say hi to a few people here. We've got Brenny, Velda, Katie, Christina, Melissa, Molly.
The whole crew.
Velda, yep.
Well, great.
Awesome. Well, great. Thanks for joining us as always. We really appreciate it. And guys, please give me some more likes. We need more likes. Even hit that subscribe button because that gives us the followers, which helps build our numbers if you haven't done that already. All right. And of course, you can always go to aortichope.org and make a donation. Everything is done by volunteers and out of pocket. So the organization can always use funds to do the good work that we do. So I want to thank you all for joining us in this episode of the Aortic Kitchen. I'm Rob Seltzer, the Aortic Chef.
I'm Mindy Seltzer, the aortic dietitian, and
And-
we will have one show in February,
2.
maybe 2, depends on if we packed our pots and pans up yet.
Yes, we are moving, but we will have, I plan on 2 shows in February. So we will see you then, folks. Thanks for joining us. Good night.